Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Trade the Chain. It is January 12th, 2021, and we're coming off a day of a little bit of panic and fear in the markets with Bitcoin dropping down quite a ways. If you watch our episode yesterday, CJ and Monty, our two crypto analysts from MarketRebellion.com here, walked everybody off the ledge, I think, pretty well. Joined by my co-host, Ryan Gorman. And today we're going to talk about the market, which seems to be taking a breather, little more consistency and steadiness right now. And one of the reasons why we explained you shouldn't have panicked yesterday too hard with a natural pullback. Plus, we'll cover one or two other quick points as well. But first, I'll go to Ryan with the legalese and get that out of the way.
Thanks, Alex. This is just a reminder that all information provided by Trade the Chain is for informational and educational purposes only. This is not investment advice and should not be construed as such. Trade the Chain is brought to you by Trade the Chain, a 24/7 community of crypto traders around the world in 18 time zones, sharing tips, trading ideas, and victories, all derived from our real-time sentiment dashboard, trading signals, SIGDEV, and our price prediction model. TradeTheChain.com for a 14-day trial.
And Market Rebellion Crypto. This is trade insights from Monty and myself, plus a community of beginner to advanced traders all throughout the world. And what you get when you sign up for this is not only crypto trade ideas, but also our macro portfolio. We switch the allocations in that every so often. So if you want to follow that as well, you can go to marketrebellion.com/crypto and sign up for the first month for just $1. If you do that, you'll be sent into our Rebellion Ops Center, where you can look at our platform with live chat, as well as some of our webinars, trade insights. And then launching tonight is going to be our new education interface with our courses here. So going to be a lot of new courses with quizzes and handouts. So if you'd like to see that again, it's at marketrebellion.com/crypto for just $1.
I can't wait to enroll in the education platform within the site. I mean, I'm going to do it anonymously, obviously, so you guys don't see it if I fail.
Let's see your quiz scores, Alex.
No. I'm not a tester, but definitely excited about that, guys. Cool stuff, man. All right, cool. Let's head on over to the big boards. Let's see what Bitcoin is doing today, as well as its sister Ethereum, and what we might be able to expect after yesterday's scary to some fall in the market.
Yeah, so I don't have too much to say after yesterday, except for a couple brief things. So this red 2, not very promising from a bullish perspective, especially on the daily chart. That's ruining any type of bullish thesis that I can come up with right now. And if we look at it a shorter term time frame on the 4-hour, what I want to point to is this resistance level that we've tentatively been rejected at. And that's about 35.7. So from this previous 9, we created a resistance level at about 35.7. And up until now, that has held. We've been unable to break above resistance. So what a lot of traders are kind of calling for now, and I'm not 100% convinced yet, but what some traders are alluding to is this is actually a head and shoulders pattern forming that could ultimately take us down to potentially 26K if we do once again break below that 32K level. So that's a bearish tentative pattern that's forming. To me, patterns don't really mean anything until confirmation. So this is not totally significant to me yet until we break below this 32K level. But being said, what would convince me to be bullish and to flip from a bearish neutral perspective is if the trend could actually close above this 32.7 level, above this previous setup resistance level. Until we do that, I'm going to remain bearish neutral with a target of roughly 30 to 26K.
Yeah, I'm glad you finished with this 4-hour chart because that's actually what I wanted to talk about too. And I wanted to briefly mention a trade that I made yesterday and I shared with the members of our community that worked out pretty well for me. And I essentially just utilized these setup resistance and support lines from TD Sequential in order to kind of just enter a short-term trade that worked out really nicely. So basically, I saw the nine, the red nine here, and it's a pretty strong red nine in the sense that it was preceded by a long red eight candle. It's a bit doji-ish, and it looked like it was going to be a true reversal. It was following a very steep rundown. So I decided to enter a trade here. Now I put a tight stop loss because there obviously was strong bearish momentum. So I put a stop loss at 29.775K, and I entered a long trade. And because of that setup resistance that CJ mentioned at 35.7, I decided that that's where I was going to exit the trade. And it worked out really nicely. So just keep that in mind going forward. Even though we're entering a period of what's going to look like some bearish price action, there's still lots of opportunities to make some profits with just some short-term trades like this.
There you go. Catching the falling knife.
Now, Mr. Short, did you feel uncomfortable entering a long trade?
A little bit, honestly, but because there was so much bearish price action already, I was pretty satisfied that the market was going to bounce back at least a little bit.
Monty knows how to play the upside. I've seen him play the upside. He don't short side him.
One thing that stuck out to me, and this is something that is all over CoinDesk. Glassnode uncovered this little nugget of information. Despite the market drawing down and lots of people selling into the panic, the number of Bitcoin whale wallets, those holding over 1,000, is actually at an all-time high, and it rose to an all-time high during the FUD sell-off. And at the same time, you had options positioning starting to cluster around 52,000 for the end of January. So this 26K pullback that you think may happen, do you agree with? Do you think that it would be short-lived, or would it be a long grind down? Because I don't think the fundamentals support a long grind down like that.
Yeah, I think you're right in the sense that it seems like a lot of the big whales in the space are still bullish in the short and long term here. So I think if we did test 26K, it would be a very quick buying opportunity, and we'd only be there for, less than a day. That being said, it's hard to really tell how much influence the retail money played in this most recent run up to 44K. And I think right now what's happening is just the weaker hands are being shaken out of the market. Like you said, there's still an all-time high for counts over 1,000 Bitcoin. So I think all that's happening is really the retail traders that kind of FOMO'd in right now are being shaken out. And once they all capitulate, we'll hit a price bottom and then shoot back up. And I think those price predictions from the whales will hold true.
And
yeah.
Sorry, Alex. And when we tend to have these massive drawdowns, it happens often, towards the tail end of a weekend going into the beginning of a new week. Why do you think that is?
Well, everybody's not working. The traditional traders who trade equity markets in both the United States, Asia, and Europe are all, kind of taking a break. That's why we see a reduction in volume over the weekends, and it is what leads to such volatile swings. You made a good point in our last episode, Ryan, that there was a author who shared a bit of information that the largest, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was the most drastic sell-offs have come based on weekends as a result of this low volume.
It was more the volatility as a result of the liquidity gaps and the thin volumes. But that volatility was also swung up in previous sessions as well. It just feels like recently that that sentiment and momentum has really been bearish leaning for some reason.
And if you do pull up the sentiment and you look at Bitcoin and Ethereum here on the 1 hour projected range and whatnot, you really see a sideways consolidation here of expectation. So it's interesting to see. Bitcoin there, it's even to the low, it's perfectly even. And Ethereum is right about there. So it really is interesting to see this now. Obviously, the volume, you look at the relative trading volume, it's up 42% for Bitcoin, 63% for Ethereum, which is to go expected with this volatility. Monty, CJ, what are we looking at for Ethereum right now? I mean, we dip below that $1,000 mark, and after having a good run, but it looks to be really marching in step with Bitcoin at this point.
Yeah, agreed. They seem to be moving in pretty close tandem here, and it's going to be interesting for ETH here if we do get that kind of extended drawdown in Bitcoin. What's going to happen with ETH? Because, like you said, it did temporarily dip below 1,000, but it was quickly snatched back up and bounced right back up above 1,000. So moving forward, it's going to be interesting to see if it can hold above this point, or if the bears drive it down with the price of Bitcoin. But I think only time will tell here.
Yeah, I think I'm in the camp of believing that Ethereum will predominantly follow Bitcoin for the short term. And it all depends on whether or not, we get back above that setup trend line on 35.7. If that happens, then I expect one of our members coined this phrase, but I'm going to steal it now, called the slingshot effect of altcoins. So Bitcoin goes first in the bull market, and then the alts are slingshotted.
Is that new trading signal?
Capital comes in the. What was that, Alex?
Is that new trading signal now in crypto? The slingshot.
The slingshot setup. Yeah.
Trademarked.
Doing Ricky Bobby on the Ethereum.
All right, folks. I people are really going to get tired of us saying this, but I mean, this is just our good friend Rob over at Digital Asset News actually made this point. He said, coins in situations like yesterday, where there's a huge pullback, and the ones that don't pull back, that resist that pullback, are the ones that bounce the quickest back to recovery. That was his sentiment on it. And one of those coins, believe it or not, looking at the Market Rebellion chart, VGX. VGX held its own during that massive sell-off yesterday to not only move forward today, but up over 70 cents, is now trading around the 65.6 mark, 65.9 mark. But I mean, this thing is just, it's really done its job beautifully.
Yeah, I really like this chart too when we price Voyager and Bitcoin, and you can see its performance versus Bitcoin, because that's what the traders in Asia and the majority of the volume coming out of Binance is. So this is Voyager's performance against Bitcoin over the last few days, and you can see this has just been a parabolic run up after bottoming on that sequential red 9. And then what I really like on the weekly chart from a more macro perspective is, we hit that 9 and we got that resurgence now, and we're just breaking above that previous run up level from the last parabolic move in the BQX Bitcoin pair. That's a very bullish sign, very promising to see. And then, excuse me, sorry, got a lot of tabs open. And now we're kind of testing some of those upward Fibonacci levels. But the concept of what Rob said, and I was preaching this too, it's like the assets that can hold their ground during a bloodbath are usually the strongest ones to rally once market conditions reverse and go back to bullish neutral. So very promising sign coming from VGX here, in my opinion.
I took profits at 35 cents. Of course I did.
We have Monty, Mr. Short, and then we have Ryan Doom and Gloom. Those two are our bad cops. CJ and I are going to play good cop. And then one last parting thing before we head out, CJ, if you could pull up the coin screener page and toggle the 1 hour sentiment to the top sentiment coin. Just hit that 1 hour projected range title, and there you go. We don't follow, or I don't follow SNX Synthetics, but I will tell you, this one is pulling a triple green on the 1 hour projection with some pretty cool numbers, really across the line. So if anybody does follow it, or anybody does want or wants to follow it, SNX, it's what's hot right now on Trade the Chain. With that being said, also, today is our giveaway day for our $50 Bitcoin giveaway. So the rules will be in right below in the description. There's a few follows. You have to say a phrase in the comments. And with that, we will pick a winner tomorrow on Wednesday, which is going to be our long form show. We'll have some news in that one or something. And this week's $50 in Bitcoin is brought to you by CJ. It's his beer money for the week. And he'll be giving that out to the lucky member who wins. So with that being said, folks, thank you for joining us today. We'll see you tomorrow for another episode, and hang on to those handlebars, kids. Talk to you later.
Bye, everyone.